Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Open Mic Podcast. I'm your host, Noah Jones. I'm working from home. I hope everyone is staying safe and COVID free. It's a scary time out there, and I've got a really great podcast with Gabe Diemer of Dodging My Job that we're going to have a conversation about how we're both spending our COVID-19 quarantines. And we'll be right back after this brief message from our sponsor.
Hello, people who clearly love the local music scene. It's us, Mechanics Bank. And as the only local independent bank in Richland County, we're kind of the indie band of the banking scene. Which means helping our hometown friends and neighbors achieve their dreams and goals is music to our ears. So stop by sometime to talk about smart ways to save, or how to budget, or how to get a home loan, or we can just play it by ear. A banking jam session, if you will. Mechanics Bank. That's better. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Gabe, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well. You're coming through quite clear through this thing. It's funny. Normally we have a really nice podcast studio at IdeaWorks, and it's been a wild ride in terms of me figuring out how to use this new long distance sort of sort of Zoom-esque podcast thing. But the sound actually turns out pretty well. You've got quite a nice setup there for you.
Yeah, I mean, this is usually the stuff that I use to record. And so I was just like, yeah, why not just use it for the podcast?
Gotcha. Well, that's cool. So you do a lot of your recording from home?
Yeah, I usually do. Like the album that we have on basically every streaming platform was most of it was recorded here at my house.
Oh, okay. Well, that's perfect for quarantine then.
Yeah.
So, what I'm really interested in talking about during this episode is how musicians are overcoming the struggle of not being able to be around other people and perform, because, whether it's your full-time job or just something that you do for fun, it's no longer existing. And I know that I have a lot of really good friends who literally make their money by playing at bars, and they can't do that anymore. And so where do you fall on that? Is this your regular day job, or just a hobby for you and your friends? What's that life like for you?
Well, for me, mostly it's a hobby basically for me. It is my second thing. Like, I don't always want music to be my main stage. And
Sure.
so when I go and perform gigs around Mansfield, it is more of a passion for me. It expresses my emotions and everything. But since all this quarantine stuff is happening, it kind of gets rid of that for me. It's kind of a bummer, but I still get through it by writing music and like posting on Instagram and talking to my bandmates about what we can do.
Yeah, so you're breaking up just a little bit there. There's nothing that I can do about it. There's not much you can do about it either. So I just hope that our guests are listening and able to sort of overcome the fact that it's not quite as good of quality as normal. But Gabe, you mentioned that you're
Yep, you just
posting.
broke up there too.
Oh, well, shoot. Okay. I don't know. Here's hoping that it's all feasible to come through in the end. But basically what I was going to say is, you mentioned using Instagram and social media. I've been seeing a lot of my Facebook friends who are musicians doing Facebook Lives. Obviously, it's not the same, but it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I really do miss gigging and playing a bunch of gigs in Mansfield and everything, but you have to deal with what you have to deal with, especially in times like these.
For sure. Now, you mentioned to me before we started shooting that you have written 3 songs, which is 3 more songs than I've been able to write. I think that I'm just sort of in this weird zone where music is not coming easily for me. Talk to me a little bit about what you're doing and how you're spending your time, not necessarily being able to
Um,
do your regular day job.
well, for me, mostly, oh, sorry about that. You broke up a little bit there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, but So my music, how I do things at home usually. So it's not really that things have changed for me that much, because I still do basically the same exact thing I did before, except I just have more time at home. But the stuff that I write about is different now, because now without the medium of concerts, I don't really have a good medium of getting like emotions out or anything. So it's like sitting at home wondering what I'm going to do, what the next song is going to be. It's a lot. And so I've written 2 songs already that were about quarantine by themselves. It's pretty hilarious.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I hope you're able to play one of the songs for us shortly here. Just talk to us a little bit more in depth about the song, though. Just the boredom of quarantine, or maybe the anxiety that the fact that it's this, quote unquote new war that we're all fighting. What's the sort of message of your songs?
Well, the message of the song that I'm going to be playing today is basically that we shouldn't all really be freaking out about this. It is a big deal, and it's just a part of life. We all need to understand that it's not something that we need to rampage going through Walmart buying all the toilet paper about. It's something that we just need to ease our way through, and we all will make it out of it.
Right on, right on. Awesome. Do you want to start playing for us?
For sure.
All right. So this is Quarantine.
Yep, this is Quarantine. Under quarantine, places that I've been have never seemed more far away than now. All I can see is my TV and the government telling me it's all but done. This year's new virus, just let it be. This year's been quarantine. We all sit inside. We're all scared to die. But the government's telling me it's all blown out. Sanitizer, please. Wipe down the screens. These orders seem to be all but no. This year's new virus sets all free. You have been hit by quarantine. This year's new virus, let it be. This year's new virus, quarantine. This year's new virus, let me be. This year's been hit by quarantine. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, so there's a lot in there, right? You're talking about how all you want to do is be with your friends and you can't, but then the government's also telling you that it's not done. And then there's also a line that's saying that, like, they're basically saying that it's not as dangerous. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a really sort of interesting thing that we have to talk about, how, for the longest time, the Republicans and Donald Trump especially was saying that it was not as big of a deal, and then we have all these all of these cases, and I think now we've been leading the world in cases, and it just seems like a weird time to be alive, because it just seems like no one really knows what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and like I've had a lot of heart doctors from like Avita and people come into the coffee shop because I work at the Cove Coffee Shop in Ontario,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're still open. And I've had a couple heart doctors come in and start talking and everything, and they were like, they were saying this virus could have definitely been here like last year around November because
Yeah.
people were testing and testing for the flu and they didn't have it, but they were still sick and they didn't know what it was and they weren't testing for COVID back then. So
Yeah, I mean, I have friends who are pretty sure that they've had it, or at least acquaintances who are pretty sure that they've had it, and yeah, I mean, I think especially with how globalized our world is, where we get packages via Amazon, from China, there's no telling of when it first got here, and I think I can't. I just looked at the numbers from the Ohio Department of Health not too long ago today, but I can't remember what those cases are, but it's definitely over 6,000 in our state, and it's a terrifying time. I think, especially for those with the different um, conditions that put you at risk.
yeah, it's really crazy, and not to mention, so both of my parents work in hospitals,
Oh,
and
okay. So do mine.
they have both come into contact with people who have had COVID-19, but because of the strict sanitation policies that they have at the hospitals, it's a miracle that they haven't gotten it.
Yeah, my mom works at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and she sent me a couple photos of her wearing a mask, and it's funny. Are you wearing a mask when you're at work?
Oh no, I there's been a lot of people that do come in though and wear masks, and I've asked a lot of them are very scared of getting it and everything. And so
Rightfully
I
so.
and yeah, it's and rightfully so. But I try and tell them to calm them down and everything because we sanitize the screens that you touch to sign your name and everything. We sanitize them every time a customer touches them, and
Yeah.
we're basically sanitizing every single time someone comes in because it's just how it is now.
Gotcha. Well, let's switch to happier subjects, I guess. I think 2 weeks ago, I got bored enough at my house that I wanted to hear local musicians playing again. So I started something at Richland Source called the COVID-19 concerts, which play on our Facebook page and on our website at 7 o'clock on both Fridays and Saturdays. And you are going to be your band's video for the songs First Sip / Madness will be running. Tell us a little bit about those songs, that video.
Well, for one, that video was originally for an audition for the Incarceration Festival, and I had it in the background ready to be used.
Gotcha.
And
Well, I
eh,
just to interrupt you quickly, I did email someone from incarceration. At the moment, it's still planning on going on, so there's still a chance that I get to interview Rivers Cuomo. I knew
Whew,
you were really worried.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
um, So, and also, so the songs themselves, Madness was actually the first song that was ever written for the band. Like that was the first song I ever wrote for the band. And, the first sip is kind of just an intro to the album. It's like going through all the stages of how it's going to be.
Okay, great. And so tell me a little bit about the band as a whole.
Um, well, there's me. I'm the guitarist, rhythm guitarist slash lead guitarist and singer. And I write all the songs. And then my drummer and my bassist are brothers, David and Skylar Sturtzinger. Um, and and I mean, in general, we're just a band that just likes to have fun. Like it's not really for us, it's not about getting famous. It's not about money. It's just like we're writing music because we want to. We want to have fun. It's not really about anything else. Like, and we love to please a crowd. Like we don't want to get up there and just leave a crowd like thinking that we weren't enough for them for us to even be there. Like it's like it we don't want to not put on a good show.
Gotcha. Cool. And are you able to practice at all during this time, or are you guys like practicing over Zoom? Does that even work?
We practiced like a week ago, and it was like the first time we practiced in about a month. And
Okay.
yeah, it was it was a little bit of a train wreck, but other than that, we haven't been practicing just because of all this, and especially because there is just a risk that
Sure.
because my uh because we are let me think about this. So I'm in high school still. I'm a senior in high school. Um
At Ontario?
I'm at Ontario, and I also go to Pioneer Performing Arts.
Oh, okay, cool.
And my bassist Skylar is a junior, and then his brother graduated last year. And so with me at my parents' house and my parents both having been exposed to this, it is a like we just don't want to risk anything.
Sure.
Um and so my parents have basically just told me, "Oh no, so don't do it." And I basically sat down with a conversation with them to be like, "Okay, I understand that completely." So it's basically just us practicing the songs that we know by ourselves, and then hopefully after this all blows over, we'll have everything ready for more gigs.
Yeah, I mean that's what my band is doing as well. It's definitely not the most fun thing to do. My band was actually in the middle of recording, and we've decided to put that on pause just because of not getting too close to other people and sharing microphones, for instance.
Oh yeah.
But I think that if we all sort of come to the agreement that we can all sort of put our lives outside of our homes on pause, the sooner we'll be able to get back into the real world. So that's at least what I'm counting on.
Yeah, and it's really hard, and I understand for a lot of people, like, being outside of their homes was, like, a good escape, like, because I know some people's lives at home aren't the best, and,
Right.
for those people who are listening to the podcast right now who don't have that well of lives at home, just know that so this will end, like, you just need to push through, like, it's a big deal for a lot of people, and we're for you people that need to come outside, just stay inside. I'm telling you, it's a big deal, and we're all counting on you.
Yeah, well, it's also pretty incredible that we have the technology to still be doing what we're doing. So, like, if this had happened in the 1950s, you wouldn't have the internet to look at. You would just be like maybe waiting for the new newspaper to read or something, if
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, we're a lot better off in a lot of ways, but that doesn't mean that you don't get bored every once in a while.
Oh yeah. Just trust me. There's like 3 things that I do daily now, and one of them is play guitar.
Right. The other one for me is play with my cat and eat.
Yeah,
All right.
eating is another one.
Way too much too. Gabe, thank you so much for joining the Open Mic podcast. I really appreciated it, and I look forward to getting to watch your video on Facebook on Friday.
Alrighty,
Have a good day.
you too.
Bye.
See ya.